Genren Reborn, an elven paladin, a true man of faith, or at least he once was. He is an NPC I made once for a campaign, and my players quite liked him. His backstory is a fairly interesting one, I suppose. Guess I should do this chronologically. He never knew his parents, as many D&D characters never do. He was raised in an orphanage by a rather abusive woman. And by abusive, I mean, abusive. She would take a long leather belt with a metal buckle and crack it against the kids. Not just the leather part. The metal part as well, as you might have guessed from my misspeak. Taking flesh off of children. Not a pleasant thing to describe, but it was what he went through, what he had to live through for many years. Until one day, a great paladin order scouted him in the orphanage. At the young age of 8, he was taken by the order, and they rebuked this woman for her cruel mistreatment of all of the children, taking her away, preventing her from working here again. And that is why our little Genren said yes to becoming a part of this order when they asked if he wished to initiate into their order. This order has very strange ways. Well, maybe not so strange. They prefer their members be inducted as young as possible, so that the only purpose that they hold is the order. And that is what they did with Genren. They raised him from that point on to be a paladin. He only ate the specific foods that they approved for him. He only slept in certain ways. He was not allowed a mattress, even. He had to sit in a constantly brightly lit room as he slept on a stone surface and no blanket. However, he enjoyed it. He didn't see this as the same type of neglect or abuse that he had gotten from the orphanage. He saw it as what they called it, training, to become something better, to morph him into a warrior. He did, and they did. Training every day. Every day. In every type of weapon. Bows, swords, shields. And even taught them about monsters and magic. Though with a very skewed education, as Genren would find out later in life. And then, as the years went by, he turned the great age of 21, he had finally become a full-fledged member of the order, a proper paladin. He was number 17, specifically. He was not a person anymore. Or at least he didn't think he was. and that is how the Order prefers it. Paladins are not people. They are exclusively weapons of their god. Weapons of the light. To protect the people and the faith of the people. They are not meant to be anything more. They are not meant to love. They are not meant to take pleasure. They are not meant for anything other than their purpose. And as cruel as that is, Genren embraced it. He found that it made everything he'd gone through mean something. And he took a certain type of pride in what he was now and what he did. And how he took to the world with other members of the Order, destroying the impure, as was their god's command. The impure can include many, many things, but the intended target is mostly undead. Skeletons, animated skeletons, zombies, vampires, that sort of thing. And throughout the years as a paladin, he had gotten quite the reputation at being quite good at his job. Very few could hold a candle to his talent, to raising the tombs of ancient undead, destroying even the most vicious of the unalive. But there was once something happened along this journey. Genren encountered an event that would forever change his perspective. As Genren and his cohorts arrived in a village of which that they were told had vampires hiding amongst them. And so, using their paladin senses and knowledge, they began searching the town for them. And they had found the town full of exceptionally happy people. Truly exceptional, actually. In a world full of corruption and misdeeds, this was a town of impeccable moral standing and community. Something that Genren and the others found quite heartwarming. And it made them even more determined to flush out the potential threat. But as they searched, Genren became unsure. Because they did discover that there was vampires. But it turns out that the vampires in town have been here as long as the town have. And that while the townsmen keep it a secret from travelers, they fully accept the vampiric kind amongst them. And in return, the vampires have done nothing but good. The vampires do not feed on the townsfolk in any way. They find other methods, including animals' blood, which the townsfolk happily provide. They help lead the generations of the town to be better and better, and they protect the town from bandits, and just in general, it's quite a strong relationship. And the vampires are not seen as some evil, awful thing, because frankly, they aren't in this case. They are a case of vampires doing everything they can to live a peaceful, innocent life. But by the Order's command, such a thing does not exist. The vampires must burn. And if the townsfolk will not point out where they are, then they all must burn. And so that is what they did. And all the while, Genren hated it. He felt something wrong about it. Wrong about his brethren being so eager to kill these townsfolk over this. Something so wrong about undoing what is done in this town. The happy lives here. It just can't sit right with him, but he does not stop. He does as he is told. He follows the command. For what is his word against God's? And that is what he thinks up until one particular person he finds. A small child. Couldn't be any older than the age he was when he was brought into the Order. She has a tinge of a powerful red in her eye, like a vampire's. And yet she stands in the sun, unharmed. Upon questioning, as Genren was able to do before his brethren found him speaking to her, realized that she didn't understand the full complexities of the situation. She was rather sick, close to death. She was given just a touch of vampiric blood in order to save her. But now she has come out of her sickness to witness the destruction of her town. And she cries, asking Genren why. What is so wrong with her? What is so wrong with the town? Genren holds no answers, as he desperately wishes to comfort the child, to take it all back, to fix what he's a part of. Then one of his brethren walks over, points a sword at the child, and says, "She is but another. She must die, Genren." Genren says nothing. He simply shakes at his knees, unable to comply with the order, but unable to stop it, as before he can even scream or move toward her, the child is slain before his eyes. A bright flash of light comes from the slash, implying a smite was used, killing the child immediately. No pain. And the child's body sat there, burnt from the holy light. And Genren simply kneeled over it, staring at the poor girl. The poor girl whose life he ruined. The poor girl whose death he did not stop. His brethren gave him space, for they thought that he needed it to continue the mission. By the time his brethren came back to find him, he was gone. Leaving only his holy symbol next to the girl. To this day, Genren walks the earth, looking for redemption, looking to atone for what he did, but to atone to who, he doesn't know. Atone to himself, atone to some other god, atone to that little girl. He doesn't know what would be best. He just knows that that old order isn't right. He can't be a part of that. But the thing that confuses him the most out of all of it is, despite his broken faith, despite the fact he is walking away and left his symbol, he can still feel the holy light within him. He can still use the power from which he gained training in the order. It is no different than what it was. He doesn't know. But since he has it, he'll use it for better things now. For people. Because that's what he wants to be. If nothing else. A paladin for the people. That is the story of Genren Reborn. Genren Reborn, for I was reborn in holy light.